Ladies and gents, how are you all doing today? We've got another special matchup for you guys. This will be the losers finals of the MKPS Final 8 tournament between Kinetolic Gaming and WollywogZ, both of whom share a common interest in the fact that they both lost to Ethereal. And a win today for either team will put them in the grand finals against them and avenge their loss. So, that being said, I'm Jaggy, and I'm joined by Chris, aka Merc. Honestly, this is probably one of the more unpredictable matches in this entire tournament, I'd say. If we look at the lineups actually real quick, both teams are fairly evenly matched, and even though that this tournament has seen a lot of 2-0s, honestly, I can see this one being 2-1 for either side. If we look at WollywogZ's lineup first, even though they are the away team, it's going to be Jack, Casper, Quinn, TK, and Edison bagging. Honestly, they just throw in week in and week out. They haven't had a single substitution across this entire split. And this is perennial WZ, as usual. I mean, fairly strong lineup. Jack and TK have averages a little over 30, and Casper and Quinn have about 28 or 29. So fairly consistent. But when you look at Casper with the 28 average, it's a little surprising.
Yeah, honestly, like, I feel like you expect a little bit more from Casper, but I feel like, from what I've seen, he's like kind of developing into more of a team player now, whereas he used to be just a pure runner. So I really think that the 29 doesn't reflect how well he's actually been playing overall.
Yeah, I'd have to agree too. I watched a little bit of Casper in this particular split, as well as in general with Mogies and whatnot. I mean, he's a solid Mogi player, arguably, you know, the best Mogi player currently, but he has developed more into a team player. And, you know, we've seen Jack and TK mainly running up there for WZ. And Jack, you know, just a few months ago, he was one of the more underrated players in this team, or underrated players in this community, but he has really shined lately, and I feel like he's finally getting the credit that he deserves. He's going to be a very important piece for them today.
Oh yeah, for sure. From what I've seen recently, Jack's kind of been like a little bit inconsistent as far as what I've seen, but the average says everything. Like, he's putting up points consistently, and that's the most important thing he can do as a main runner, is just stay up there and make the plays happen when they need to happen, really.
For sure. And Edison bagging, he's been an anomaly lately. I mean, he started bagging for them. I mean, he had a little bit of bagging experience before Spring Split, but really started to bag for them in the Spring Split as kind of a sub for Skitty/Skyleaf, and then they would split time. The summer split, he was starting a lot, but he has been one of the most improved, if not the most improved bagger in such a short amount of time that I think I've ever seen in the history of playing this game, in my history of playing this game, I should say.
Yeah, no, for sure. I've been like watching him a little bit because obviously, like, we all know he's an amazing runner, but seeing him transition into bagging so quickly, I won't say I'm shocked, because we saw Mac transition so quickly from a runner to a very good bagger. Mm-hmm. But now we're also seeing people like Edison do the exact same thing, because that's the role that their team needs filled, and that's what they want to do.
Absolutely, yeah. And he'll be going up against Ryu, who I actually mentioned this in a previous cast, but Ryu is a part of the OG in terms of the bagging, part of the bagging Mount Rushmore. He's been bagging since, you know, season 9 of WL, or season 10 actually. He played for Kinetolic Gaming around season 9 of WL, but he was
all right, ladies and gents. How are you all doing today? We've got another special matchup for you guys.
He played for KG. Yeah, he played for KG in WL season 9, and he's been bagging for a long time now. It's going to be very difficult to go up against someone like Ryu, but Ryu's kind of fallen off a little bit in terms of bagging, most likely because he hasn't played as much as before. But in terms of raw bagging skill, I mean, Ryu has that in abundance, and I'm actually interested to see how that bagging battle will turn out.
Yeah, I really think that this will come down to who performs best bagging wise, and I'm not even necessarily saying like the shot count really, but just in general, like how they do against each other, how they like prevent each other from either pulling shocks or using shocks. And I think it's really going to come down, if Ryu is derusted, I think this is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people expect.
Yeah. What do you think about the rest of the lineup? Do you think this lineup speaks to you at all?
Well, obviously Jake and Mura pop out as the two strongest runners in this lineup. Jake is well known for just being able to run away on basically any given track, and Mura is probably the strongest Daisy on Weem right now, I think, bar none.
Yeah, they both have. Mura has like a 33 average. Jake has about a 32. Javo 29 and Russo 26 or 27, I think. But in terms of averages, Kinetolic Gaming, I mean, if you're looking at stats in general, they have slightly better averages than WollywogZ, but stats can only tell you so much. And I feel like both of these sides are very evenly matched in both running and bagging. I'm fairly interested to see what will happen. I think the room has started, if I'm not mistaken. If we could check that out really fast. I don't want to jump the gun too much. Yeah. So really quick predictions. Who do you got?
Oh, I'm gonna have to say a 2-1 to WollywogZ. I just feel that I just feel that Quinn will show up more than Russo will, and I really have them as my two X factors in this series.
Yeah, Quinn has, you know, he has this sort of, he had this stigma in the past of being like a decent D1 runner, but not one of the standout players for WZ. But lately he has improved to, you know, keep up with everybody, and he actually has a 29-ish point average if we look at the stats there, and fairly solid player. And I'm gonna say 2-1 KG without going too far into why. I'll get into that after the race. But here we go. The race has started. Casper tries to take the stand off, but he gets the draft.
That's unfortunate.
Wasn't able to do so. Yeah.
Can we switch to Russo real quick? I'm seeing just off the start. It looks like, from what I'm seeing, both runners have triple shrooms, which is, or at least both streamers have triple shrooms, which is really gonna help them out.
A little bit too high of a trick there for Russo.
Just a little, you know, just one of those things that happens, really. I mean,
yeah,
can't do much about it.
But it's the little things in this game, though. You know, as a result, he gets redded, and he was in prime position really to break the plane there and give himself a break in first. But as a result, he's going to fall behind. Casper also with the flub too, though.
Yeah,
as he was taking the ultra there, unfortunately, actually no, it was the sand hop, and he ended up hitting the dirt there.
Yeah, so it's really just an even trade for these two. I mean, it's like it's honestly like we didn't really I don't think we really expected. I know I didn't expect either of them to like fail or die so quickly after taking cut, but they did.
Jake's been holding this down, though, and that's one of the people that you need to be up there at all costs. Jake is just an absolute danger when he's up there, both in the running and with getting people out of top spots. But the shot comes in early from KG as they were falling behind a little bit. Javo is going to take the golden cut all the way to first. Does fail it a little bit, though, so he's going to fall back down to third, I believe. No, he still keeps his first, but it's very close.
That's a really tight group right there in the top three, and it's just
really tight pack. Blue will be coming in.
Yeah, that's coming from 8th though, so I'm not really sure. Obviously it's still not the end of the race, but it's not the best spot for Blue to be coming from.
And that is going to be Mura locking down first here for KG. It's going to be looking like no battle glitch, unfortunately, for Russo, but I think it's going to be a 1-3. Yeah, 1-3-4.
I saw Mura die on the line. I don't know how far he fell, if he fell, but
yeah. It was 1-3-4 before that moment. I think there might have been a blue there right at the very end.
Was.
Spots fairly mixed after that race, and yeah, I mean, it was a couple of mistakes from both sides, actually. It was Russo with a little bit of a flub there, preventing him from taking the sand hop in lap 2 and breaking away, and then Casper, I think, failing the sand hop lap 2. Even trade for both sides, even race, it looks to me. Yep.
That's a really close race off the bat. Honestly, I feel like that's not exactly what both teams wanted, but it's the best result for the viewer. That's all I'm gonna say.
For sure. And I honestly, okay, so going back to my prediction, I said I was gonna leave it until after the race. So you said 2-1 WZ, and it looks to me like the consensus vote right now is WZ, 19-6 in favor of WZ. But I hate to be the bearer of bad news, guys, but I'm actually predicting KG for this one. I got KG 2-1. I feel like KG has really popped out this season, and I think the biggest issue with my prediction is how Russo is going to play. And you mentioned how Russo and Quinn will be the X factors. I feel like Quinn has been a lot more consistent this season than Russo has been, though. I've seen a couple of times where Russo, drops 100, 110. And then in his most recent affair, he actually dropped 55 and 58 against Ethereal. So not a very good performance there. But if Russo is on his day, I feel like KG are a little bit of a more powerful side in the running. And I feel like that will be the end-all be-all today. And I think the shot count will be even, but KG will just kind of sneak it out in the end. They did contest with MW quite a bit, so...
Ooh, it looks like we got Parkway here. I will build on what you just said after this race, but yeah, this is a pick that really does prefer KG here. It's really going to come down to how well either Mura or Russo can break at the start, I feel like. Because if the daisies can get away, there's basically no catching.
Yeah, and it looks like Russo got the draft there, but him and Jake weren't able to coordinate that well enough, as Jake did have the triple greens and unable to avoid them, unfortunately. It looks to me like Jake is still up there. Casper, unfortunately, was sitting at the boxes. He's way in 8th. And I ended up with a TC in 7th and tried to pass it to one of the baggers, but didn't do so. So huge break in 8th.
Yeah. I saw that TC battle happening, and it was one of those things that like you can't avoid really, because Bill is such a problem for baggers on this track. But that's really unfortunate for Casper. He's just going to be playing catch up for really the rest of the races.
Yeah, it looks like 2 for 2 so far in Ryu in the bagging. He did get the shock and used it lap 2 in the beginning of the previous race, and now he's winning out in the bagging battle here. Yeah. And it looks to me like Edison may overtake. Pau comes in. Not sure whose Pau that was. I think that might have been a KG Pau, but it was used fairly late if it was.
Yeah, if that was a KG Pau, it wasn't the best. I'm honestly leaning towards more that being a WZ Pau.
Yeah.
KG out. Like, even though it got Jack, it still killed KG more than it did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to see just by what these baggers are doing to see what they have, but I really can't predict.
I found it interesting that Russo tried to bank it off the wall there, and while it is a lot harder for the runners to avoid... Okay, nice back from Quinn.
Yeah.
While it is a lot harder for the runners to avoid something as RNG as a couple of wall bounces, I would have liked to see Russo hold that and actually try to line his snipe up after the cannon. WZ breaking away in top 2 now.
Yeah, and I don't really think there's any way for KG to really break this top 2 unless they all pulled shrooms, which obviously they didn't. Yeah, but that was not, I don't think, the race that they were really wanting to get out here, because this is one of their staple picks, and you need those staple tracks to go right every single time, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there was a blue onto Jack, right?
Yeah.
But WZ were still very much up there, and it was honestly the beginning exchange there with Russo drafting Jake, and either Jake has to respect that and slow down just a little bit to allow Russo to keep going, or Russo has to slow down and realize that he's not going to be able to pass Jake. But unfortunately, they weren't able to coordinate that, and after that, it was just WZ running away. WZ getting a good race off of KG's track pick and off of one of their staples, like you mentioned. So
yeah,
good response there from WZ.
That's going to be something that...
And the scoreline we have right now, 62-60 for KG. This is the scoreline that we like to see. We like to see these close affairs. Hopefully this will maintain.
Yep. This is what I was really looking forward to with this matchup, is just how close it would be.
What do you think they should go here, WZ?
Oh, for WollywogZ, they got 1, 3, 6, 7. I mean, if DDR wasn't already off the board, I would normally say DDR. Mm-hmm. But I think either this is going to be a bit of a wild card, I think, but BC3 could work. It's not very popular for 1-3, but I'd say either BC3 or Treeway would be a good pick here.
Mm-hmm. For WZ, though, I wouldn't be surprised if I saw... Yeah, I was going to say Maple Tree. I'm not sure what else they could go with, because I know KG come out with Goldmine, and it's fairly interesting to see, because KG, they pick this seemingly no matter what the spots are. Well, maybe not, if they're bottom 4, they're not going to pick WGM, but If they're 3, 4, 5, 6, if they're top 2, 4, if they're 1, 3, you know, they're still going to pick WGM because that's one of their staples. MT does come out.
Ooh. Okay, yeah. This is all going to come down to that first exchange for the baggers, honestly. Because if one of Edison or Ryu can get a break in 10, it's all but a lockdown shock for them.
Yeah. And if the bagging battle's neck and neck in the beginning, I do see Ryu struggling a little bit as he is baby Luigi is going to kind of get bumped around a little bit. And it looks to me like the baggers are neck and neck right now, so this could be bad for Ryu.
Yeah. I was looking to see if Edison shoved Ryu off on the net, because that would have killed him. But
really good position here for Russo, but he opts not to golden yet. I mean, he is putting a risk of getting back spam somewhere down the line. I'm surprised he didn't use that earlier, but he's confident in the ability to avoid the back spams, because after this section, a golden is slightly better on paper than using it earlier.
At first, I didn't understand the decision to back that bomb there, but I think it makes more sense now that it was so close and people were dying around him, given his team was top 2. Nice little golden usage there from Russo, just gets him into a little bit of a break in first. I don't think, we're not going to see a shock this early. It looks like both baggers are just sitting at boxes waiting for the other to pull a bill.
Yeah. Casper was in 4th with triple reds, but unfortunately he threw one of his reds forward, and then there was another red that connected to him on the side, even with 2 reds protecting him. So he's going to be able to golden up here. And Russo,
that's unfortunate. That was a fib. Russo a fib right there.
I looked away for 1 second. Thanks for covering me there.
Yeah. So that puts WZ back into top 2, but it looks like a blue split, if I'm not mistaken.
It looks to me like it did as well.
So that's what would have been a top 2, 4, 5 is now just a 1, 3. It's still good spots given that Casper has shrooms in 3rd, but he opts not to take cut here, which makes me believe that KG have shock, and that was called out.
Yeah, I think he was just sitting there at the beacon. It looks to me like they are in possession of it.
That's exactly what he's doing. Yeah, because Ed's still sitting at boxes, I think, trying to get a star maybe, but...
Oh! Okay. Ooh. Casper gets side green. Shot coming in for KG. 2 dodging, 3 dodging. Oh, wow.
Oh, that's rough for Russo. He just gets starred by Jake there. That's going to spell the end to his race, I'd assume, at this point. But it's... as long as they can break those top... Yeah, it looks like they're top 3 now, from what I'm seeing on Casper's POV. And
top 2, 4, actually. I think, Quinn was able to flip up in there, but still going to be a fairly solid race for KG. Russo going to be able to play 6. He actually has a bomb switch over to him. Maybe he could get a bomb snipe on the line.
Oh, yes. That's a...
that is clutch from Russo.
Jake got 8, though. Jake got 8.
I guess a 1-1 exchange there. That was a good attempt.
I didn't see what hit Jake, but I just saw him die on the line right as Casper got bombed, or before it, actually. So it's not as good as it could have been, but it's still a very strong race. It was like a top 2, 4 at the very least for KG there, which is what they need, especially when it wasn't them picking the track.
Yeah, looking back at it though, he got hit right before the line before the bomb hit him. I think it was a back spam from Quinn on the line that hit him right before the bomb connected onto him as well. So
yeah, that was the first thought that popped into my head, because I saw him like stationary before the bomb hit, and it was just that's the only possible explanation there.
It looked to me like Quinn swerved really hard on the line and ended up kind of just predicting Jake's read there. Jake's line, I think he might have gone left path there. And so that was really solid work from Quinn.
For sure. And now with this, I feel like going into this next race, this top 2, 5 is going to be a weird spot to pick. I think for WollywogZ, this is an easy grumble. But there's a few choices that KG have here. They can either go gold mine or highway. It really depends on what they're feeling in the moment.
Grumble Volcano is not a bad option here for WZ.
Oh, I do not know what to think about this pick. I understand it because Mura's in first, but Russo's stuck in the pack and they can block it lap 1, and they can block left side as well, as we saw Ethereal do.
Needless to say, very bold from them, but they're confident in it for sure. With Mura being in first, Mura being a daisy, they do have Russo as well. I mean, if you have one daisy in first and one daisy in the middle of the pack, the daisy in the middle of the pack, having that there doesn't matter that much as long as Murrah is able to keep his first. But if not, then it's just going to completely nullify this track pick as a whole. So let's see how well Quinn can break the top spots up, depending on what item he pulls. Throws a fib. Doesn't look like it's going to be a threat.
Yeah, fib didn't connect on anything, but it's still looking like a good start for KG, actually. Because from what I'm seeing on the with Battle Glitch, it looks like there's a lot of WZ in the back.
Oh, good back from Jack.
Wait, no, they're top 2. Never mind. Yeah, it's blocked. Yeah, that's gonna basically shoot a that's a bullet right through the plans that KG probably would have had coming into this race.
Whoa! I was looking at the the bagging battle, and actually both baggers were stationary for a bit of time. I think Edison might have pulled a star when he was taking the backward strat, and he ended up starring Ryu and ends up taking the Hawk, I think. So he's winning out in the bagging battle right now. Edison and Casper schlagging right here, getting Russo in the process, and I think Jake as well. So good schlag there, especially considering their frontal presence here.
Yeah, it looks like no one has shock. They both just respawned. I think it's just going to be a drag race to that set right after Hawk strat for the baggers.
Is Russo going to take left side glitch? We have seen him attempt it before, and there it is once again.
That's a make. That is top 2, I think. Yeah, top 2 for KG. Honestly, I would just triple block glitch this lap. I wouldn't even go for it if I was them.
Russo, right on the money, man. I called that too.
Yeah.
That was clutch. Okay, so we see a 3-4 though from WZ. Maybe they could spam a couple of greens to try to put KG off a little bit. I don't think it's going to work though.
I think I see. Yeah, that's a blue coming in from Murrah. I think that came from Casper and
Murrah dodged it easy.
Oh, that should lock down this race then, honestly. I think
let's switch over to Casper. I'm really interested to see if he's going to go for glitch. He does go for it every now and again, but he's not going to... It's blocked, yeah.
Yeah, that was a smart block from Russo just to cover it up, make sure the Funkies couldn't take it like with a star or something. That should really just lock in this top 2.
And shockless, I think, yeah.
I don't know where that bomb went.
Switch over to Russo.
Yeah.
Trying to get a snipe on Quinn, but Quinn is...
Yeah. I think that's odds and evens for each team. I don't know if Havo finished 5 or 6, but I know 1 to 4 was KGWZ in a checkerboard. It's so it's basically back to just what we were at the start of the GP. This is gonna come out close either way, honestly. It's gonna be either a +3, a +1, or something like that. Honestly, this is kind of what I wanted to see from this match, because obviously these two teams are maybe not on paper well matched up, but like in practice and in game, like they just play so well against each other, and it's like it's like yin yang, really, just how like kind of uniquely similar they are, if that makes any sense.
Right. And yeah, it's gonna be a fairly strong GP. Nothing too crazy for KG, but KG are the type of team that, they have the power, they have the running power to be able to get away early and establish a breakaway or points breakaway early into the war. But we'll see what happens. 16-point lead for KG, and they are the hosting team. They're going to be the hosting team for this match as well as match 3. Remember, this is the best of 3 only. The only time there's going to be a best of 5 is going to be the grand finals, and that's going to be, 5 straight hours of Mario Kart Wii for the players and for the casting team. It's quite a lot.
Yeah, that's going to be a whole marathon.
Yeah. But I also mentioned, actually, in a previous stream, actually, I say that a lot. I mentioned this, I mentioned that. But anyway, I feel like WollywogZ would be a little bit better equipped for that sort of marathon, because Kinetolic Gaming have had a little bit of problems with lineup changes and with certain individuals being paranoid. Jake. So if KG can get this particular lineup throughout the entire best of 5, then they'll be okay. But I feel like WollywogZ, especially with their front 4, and their bagger, Edison. This particular roster plays week in and week out, no substitutions really. So I feel like they'll be better equipped for a best of 5.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like another big factor in KG being able to not be as good, as competitive in a best of 5 would be the tilt. Because I think it's more known from KG that like they do tilt a lot easier than other high level teams.
Yeah, and that I don't think that's going to be a major issue, but it could be the difference between winning a match by 20 and losing a match by 10.
Yeah, for sure.
And WollywogZ are known for their level-headedness, and I don't think any of them really. I mean, Casper, but other than that, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, starting off the race in DKM, this is another one of the tracks that KG really love to try to get up there as early as possible. And when they do get up there, they're very hard to get out. Mura and Russo, both very strong in this particular track, as well as Jake too. I mean, he's strong in any track.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really interesting one. I think Mur just got past the TC.
Jack clipped the wall on the right-hand side too, so that's gonna make him fall behind a little bit. It's gonna be a KG top 3 early on.
Jake just got hit out by the TC. I don't think that was an intentional pass, but honestly, I think it could work out because Daisy is just so powerful on this track.
Quinn doesn't have a snipeable item here. I was going to say he's in position to try to snipe this top 2 with the Fib or a Nana, but doesn't look to me like he's holding anything significant yet.
Yeah. Ooh.
Pow could work here. Pow could really work here.
Yeah.
If they can use it, they'll probably have to hold this Pow for a little bit though, but use it at around the next set of boxes, and that's really going to get KG out.
Yeah, that would be deadly because it's right before the cut. Ooh, that's rough for Mura. Ooh,
Russo doesn't respect it either. I think he got a bad bounce. He didn't realize he was going to bounce too far to the left. Yeah, let's switch over to Casper, see what he does with this Pow.
I honestly, okay. I was really expecting him to hold that because he didn't use it until very late, but he didn't.
Oh,
Jake was going for him there. Ooh, yeah, I think he's gonna get at least one of them.
There it is. That's what you like to see. Jake is usually known to be a runner, but he's putting it upon himself to make sure that he maintains that breakaway for KG. Good work.
Yeah. I think it's still it is Quinn in first, but everything behind him is KG. It's Mura back to Havo, I think it is.
Yeah, so it's gonna be fairly even spots going into the last few turns here, and Russo. I mean, no one's really around him. He's pretty safe for now. Quinn is gonna try to. Now, I think one of those Nanas were backed from Quinn, and one of them was backed from.
See what Russo can get with the. Ooh.
Just a little bit too short there.
Yeah. And that last second shock's not gonna do anything either for WZ. I think that if that shot came a little bit earlier, it would have been better for them, but. I don't know if they passed Havo on the line, so it's either a 1-3-4-6 or a 1-3-4-7 for KG.
Right, and also we failed to mention too that Russo had a shroom, right? He had a shroom in second with Mura in first, and Mura was. It's not like Mura had a bit of a break, Mura and Russo were like neck and neck.
Yeah, and they were right next to each other.
Yeah, I think Mura there should have allowed him to pass. Good point there.
Yeah, I think honestly, I don't think they could have really reacted to it though, because it was thrown right out of cannon, and no one in the pack gets indicators. I don't think.
So nonetheless, though, still strong.
Yeah, it's still a really strong race. 1-3-4-7. I like these spots. It's just a different feeling for these spots. I don't know why. Especially because it's a +13 race. They have the momentum going in the last 3 races they've won, which it's not something to laugh at, and I honestly wasn't expecting KG to come in so hot, but I think I'm not going to necessarily say that they're really starting to heat up now, because I don't think that's necessarily the case, but this is starting to go in one direction.
Yeah, I think in regards to to what you're saying, if they're not necessarily heating up, it's just that they've been more consistent with their lineups that they've thrown out. In the past they've had a couple of problems with lineups, but this time, aside from Jake getting Paranon in one game, I think it was against Ethereal, he wasn't able to play match 1, but other than that, they've been a little bit more consistent on which lineups that they throw out, and they've been practicing
You know, even with their internal clan struggles around Summer Split, they still stay together and they still push through, and they are a very strong side. And they are very momentum based, by the way. Whenever they do establish an early lead, it's really hard for them to give it up. You know, they are a momentum based team, and WZ are going to have a little bit of a hill to climb here. Talking about this particular race, though, Shroom in fourth for Russo, and I think it's going to be Quinn ahead of him on the battle glitch.
Yeah. Yeah, it is Quinn. I think it's a top 2 off the start, though, for KG, which they held.
Yeah, top 2 for it looks to me like. And Quinn has a job to do, but I don't think he's going to be able to do much around these turns. Pao comes in.
I don't even think he's in sniping distance. No, he's not.
No.
Yeah, no, you're going to have to hope for at least one blue.
Oh, Casper forced out of his star as there was a laggy bomb car in that situation. Yeah. And not in position. Okay.
That's an early shock for WZ. That's what they needed.
Mm-hmm. That was just pulled, assuming that, you know, last frame dodge for Casper.
Yeah, that was a really good situational pull for Edison. I don't really know if it changed much because I can't really see in front of Russo or behind Casper right now.
Well, it's still a necessary play, right? Because KG were breaking, and in this particular track, the only parts that you can really catch up in is in the very beginning where you take the grass cut or you golden up. After that, it's just all boost panels. So
yeah,
I think it's a good shock for WZ. Even with Edison being in 9th, I still think that was formidable at least.
Yeah, no, it was definitely needed. But now we see this blue for Russo to really just...
It's a good bomb snipe there. Onto Javo. I'm not sure who individually did it. Jack lags a bomb car and Russo. I think that was intentional. I think he kind of just swerved into that bomb car.
Yeah, that had to have been intentional. You don't really see that unintentionally at this high of a level. That's
either that or he's not lagging.
Yeah, that's a last second shock for WZ. They got 3-5. I think they got 1, 3, 4, 5. I think I saw Jake back there as well. That's not what KG would have wanted, especially with how it was going before that first shock. I'm not gonna say unfortunate because Edison did do a good job to pull those shocks, but it's not ideal.
Yeah, so just looking at the sequence of events there, you know, early shock, it must have just been pulled from Edison.
It was.
Assuming, so he just used it right then and there. An instinctual call from WZ, I'd assume Casper was the one that was calling that one. And then, you know, Russo getting lag bomb card, and Javo and Jake were already in the back before that. So that was just kind of the staple of that particular race. WZ starting to find their foothold here. Only a 10-point deficit now.
Yeah, honestly, this is going to be a real test for WZ just to see like if their momentum has stopped now or if it's like kind of just plateaued. Because that's the kind of race that can really just flip like a mood and a call as a whole. So I'm really going to be watching, I think, Havo and Russo really to see how they react to that in this race.
Yeah, I mentioned that KG was a momentum-based team, but I'd say there isn't a player in KG that epitomizes that more than Russo. I think Russo's very streaky, but when he's on his day, you know, especially with certain tracks with like BCW and DK Mountain, he does shine in that respect. I mean, we saw the left side glitch from Russo, very impressive, but at times, especially against Ethereal last week, he really didn't have his best day, and that kind of contributed to Ethereal's dominant victory over Kinetolic Gaming. Yeah. And so we'll see here. Russo with triple shrooms, and triple shrooms are very powerful here, but he's not. Yeah, I was going to say that is a good chain right there. Good decision to chain, and he does get a good chain nonetheless.
Yeah, that's I think triple shrooms in 6 and 5, 2 consecutive boxes. That's kind of not expect. You can't really expect that. And when it does happen, it's kind of tragic. But when it's on a track like Sherby, you kind of you've got to ride that pain. It looks like Jack did try to get a snipe off onto Russo, and another one here.
Oh, Casper, the double duty, the double whammy there. We saw a snipe attempt from Jack, and the back spam coming in.
Russo had absolutely nowhere to go. That's just one of those situations you can't really do anything about it, and Russo gets shocked off. And it looks like TK dodged an Omega. That should be lights, camera, action. That should be this race called, at least for first place. But
Yeah, I mean, Sherbet Land, I mean, anything can happen in this game, right? You could pull a
Yeah.
golden and get way back up there. But as for right now, with Edison way in 10th at the moment, good response. So far, we have seen Ryu getting a decent amount of shocks, but good response there from Edison. Blue comes in onto TK. Doesn't have a shroom to avoid it, though, but it's still going to be a top 2 pretty comfortably.
Yeah, that's a little unfortunate, honestly, but now you've got Casper in first, and I think he has ample protection behind him. Yeah, top 3 for WZ right now. And with that shroom, he's safe from at least one blue.
Oh, Russo! Oh, no. Those are the kind of mistakes I was worried about Russo making. A couple of times in the match against Ethereal, like he fails the low trick in BC3, or he hits the car in Moonview in second, trying to contest the top spots. You know, that sort of thing. That's really not what you want at this level.
Yeah, and that's exactly like the type of plays that Russo will make when he's really just kind of out of focus.
KG shock late though. Actually, no.
That's
I mean,
WZ shock. That's gonna be a top 4. That's gonna change the tides of this.
Yeah, I didn't see Ryu spin out, but I think he dodged in a star or something, so that might have been why I got confused. But yeah, you see 2 shocks, Edison, Poggers, winning out on the bagging battle in that one.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is kind of what I expect from Ed. I've seen a little bit of him bagging, and he's consistently been doing well. And I think this is really just putting a stamp on it. The fact that he can just dominate someone like Ryu, as he's doing right now.
Yeah, and that as for how he managed to get that break, Ryu, you know, usually Ryu's the kind of person where if it's a 50-50 sitting track, he will sit for a little bit, but then he will be the first one to commit.
Yeah, he's
going backwards.
He's aggressive on the boxes, but Edison is on that box as well, on that first box on Sherby.
Yeah, and so what happened was, you know, Edison did go backwards first. And he stopped at the boxes to get a 9th place box. Ryu got bombed in the middle of the pack and
reversed him with Bill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rather unfortunate, but again, that's actually kind of one of the things that I really like about the fact that we don't really have as many like wheelie bumps aren't like always penalties unless you're streaming, obviously. And you can take boxes and stuff like that because it makes the baggers be more aggressive against each other. Whereas, so they're taking the runner's lines rather than taking like a super wide line and not getting hit by any items on the track.
Yeah. The thing about Ryu though is he does get a little too aggressive at times. And we saw a trolling penalty actually against Ethereal where he drove in the runner's line in Moonview on the boost panel section.
Yeah.
I admire that about Ryu. He's not afraid to take risks, but he is kind of troll prone. I've noticed that over time is that, you know, he's one of the types of baggers that get to troll every 2 or 3 matches or so. So he has to really be careful with that.
Yeah, I feel like he's gotten better with that over the years, but it's still it's a problem because you can't really be having troll penalties, especially in like close matches or in close matchups like this one.
Good back there from Jake. And in terms of how aggressive both teams were with the shroom battle, I think WZ kind of held back a little bit more. We saw Casper and I think Mura dropping back for shrooms, but it doesn't look to me like any of them get significant items in the top 5. And I think KG are starting to run away with this just a little.
Yeah, given how Casper's playing right now, I don't think either bagger has Bill. Yeah, because he's trying to chain for an 8. This is going to be a close bagging battle. This is going to be a really close bagging battle. Unless Ryu does have Bill. No, he didn't hop. But that could just mean he's trying to stay in front of Ed. Someone has shock, because I don't think Mura would have sat there for so long from 7.
Trying to get a snipe on Mura, bounces off the hedge.
Yeah. That's rather unfortunate. Someone Ryu has to have it at this point. That's unfortunate for Russo, but if he can get the pet, Once he got that TC off, I think it's worth it because he'll definitely pull a dodge here because Edison's holding one, and I'd assume that one is others being held by either TK.
No
or
dodge for
Hopper.
Russo though, as he did pull triple shrooms. It
Yeah.
looks to me like nobody actually takes cut except for Murrah there.
Yeah. Russo has a star. I think I'd be shocked if they don't call it this star. They don't. Wow. Okay. So they've just committed to a last set shock.
Yeah.
Russo has to get an item here.
As we just saw there, KG random green unfortunately did hit Casper out of a mid spot there, and it looks to me like this could be wraps for KG, assuming that for WZ, assuming that KG will just hold this until the very end.
Yeah, they're going to. Honestly, I really would have thought that they would have shocked there. Russo would have held his star or tried to chain more boxes in the hedges just to increase the likelihood, but it worked out in the end. You lock down the shock, you lock down basically the race, because it's such a powerful item on this track, especially.
I don't think he was forced out of it though, was he?
No, he wasn't. He just hopped into cut because he was far behind.
Yeah, okay. I think that was the safe play from KG, right? Because, you know, WZ could easily just spam a mega in the hedge section, predicting, you know, because sometimes teams like to shock in that particular section to make it unpredictable. So in turn, that particular spot has not been as unpredictable lately because more teams have picked up on it.
Yeah, it becomes a lot more predictable if it's used by a lot of people as unpredictable, which is kind of ironic if you think about it. But
it's an unpredictable spot that is predictable now because it's unpredictable. So what are you going to do? Use a first set shock now because every other team's just going to hold dodges until the hedge?
Yeah, it's that's how the times have changed in this game.
That's part of the mental game with this. The mental aspect of this game is, oh, when are they going to use a shock? When are they going to use it? Are they going to use it here or here or here? And you know, it's much more of a MKW is much more of a mental game than some people may think.
Yeah, it really is. I just want to go back to that first shock on Moonview really quick. Honestly, I don't even think that was called because I know Edison saw Casper passing by, and he would have called out he's in a star in the call. So I'd imagine Edison just used it as soon as he pulled the shock, because that when he used the shock like that so like soon after touching the box, there's no way that a call would have happened in time between saying he has shock and Casper saying use it or something like that.
Interesting. I'm actually interested to know that. I'll ask Casper. I'll be like, oh, okay, Casper called the one on MH.
The first one?
Yeah. So always depend on Casper for responses. I just PM'd him now. And it was actually Casper calling that one. I figured it was, but I mean, you make a good point. You know, Edison was right there. He had the vantage point, and
yeah,
I mean, if it was used by Edison, that'd be a Poggers play. But yeah, Casper did call that one in MH.
Because I know personally, like, if I saw a runner in the last frame of his star and I'm listening to the call, hearing that we're not in anything, and they're top 3, I'm gonna use that shock just to push us further into the top spots.
So yeah, after that GP, it's going to be a +12 for WollywogZ. You know, they were down by the teens, or I forget what the exact score line was, but they were down by a little bit after GP1, and now they're up. And this is the kind of seesaw match that we like to see.
Yeah,
the seesaw match get fairly close.
Yeah, I think it was a 16-point deficit or something like that after the first GP. So that's a massive GP for WollywogZ, and I really think the momentum is going to be swinging in their favor here. It's really dependent all on what is pulled this first.
Yeah, switch over to Russo. He did get caught with a backspam from Casper there, and Russo not too confident in his rock, still makes it, but he had to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, no, that Russo's been doing that for a while now. He's just stop rock, or not stop, but not like the
slow down rock. Yes.
Yeah,
the 2016 strategy.
The Troy method. Yeah.
Yes, I mean he's still in third with this, and assuming he will go for rock again, I mean he could easily get all the way up to first.
Yeah, unless it looks like, oh yeah, no, there's not going to be a shock from Ryu, unless he has.
Well, he has to make a decision here. Is he gonna? Yeah, he's gonna wait. He's gonna wait.
He's gonna wait for the.
But the double red.
That's unfortunate. You can't really do anything about. Oh, and then the TC as well.
Yeah.
And
it was a good read from Russo to stop because he wasn't making the respawn, assuming he was going to go for respawn. He wasn't making that at all. But he was stuck in two minds there. He had to slow down, hit the brakes right away, but he kind of hesitated there. Russo is off the track.
I really don't want to call this race for Russo because it is Grumble, but I mean, just given where the baggers are on the mini map, I doubt there's any chance that Ryu has it.
Pow comes in, but a very late one from Casper. It looks like Mura and Jake were able to take cut into top 2. No Shock coming in. This is going to be a very good race for KG.
Nothing dodging Quinn or TK either. That's, yeah, okay. Russo dodging, actually. Wow, that's a really lucky pull for Ryu. But
was he nice?
Yeah, he was, because Edison made the strat.
Okay.
That's really unfortunate. Yeah, but it still really didn't have a big effect on the outcome of the race. I think Russo still got 8th or 7th, which, considering he could have got maybe 6th if he got the boost off the respawn.
Well, the shock itself didn't do much. If it were shockless, it would have been a KG really strong race nonetheless. But unfortunate for Edison not to pull it. But I guess that's kind of karma from race 1 or 2, I believe, that Ryu didn't pull shock when he was in 10th. So.
Yeah, that's
luck
kind
evens out. We like to see the luck being even in the bagging battle, but we can't always ask for that.
And we do see a top 3-7-9 coming out there for KG, which we were really questioning the momentum before, and I think this is kind of just doesn't necessarily put the idea that they're a momentum based team into question, but it more so shows that they can have some points where they aren't purely based on their momentum and that they can bounce back from stuff happening to them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Having played with Russo so much in DayZ, I know that when he tilts, it just kills the whole vibe in the call. And I don't know, I don't trust him not to tilt against a team like WollywogZ. Because we see time and time again that they will, no matter where they are in the pack, they will try to create more of a breakaway for the higher spots. And I don't know, you can't Russo can react to that in very different ways depending on how the war is going. So
I know you know him very well based on the time you played with Daisy, right? With the CT team.
That's why I'm a little bit hesitant to call KG as potential winners for this matchup, and it's not really on skill at all. It's just I don't trust the tilt to not come in as a factor, and honestly I don't even really trust anyone to be able to manage that and kind of calm him back down and get him back in the zone in that call, which I think is what they're missing with Mike, actually, because he can reel people back in if he doesn't tilt himself.
That's a big ask, right? Because I feel like Mike is either the chillest, most calm guy in the call, or he's the one that's complaining the most.
Yeah,
it's weird. You never get an in-between with Mike.
Yeah, no, I've been playing with him a lot recently in YN, and I've noticed he's really calmed down. He's not mellowed out, but he's got more grounded, I guess, as far as his ego goes, and he doesn't really tilt as much anymore, which right. I think this roster, especially for KG, would benefit so much from, just to have that one stable voice who would be present every week, that could slot into the main lineup, A, put up points, and B, just be a leader in the call. Because I really don't think they have a true leader. Well, they do have a leader, I think, in Havo. They don't really have a true leader, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, they don't have a mental leader. They don't have a somebody that can keep the team grounded, like you said.
Yeah.
And I think we saw that issue kind of come to fruition with Ethereal in the summer split, but they were able to recover well. And I think the entire team in general just kind of just put the pieces back together, and they were like, hey, let's not let that happen again. What happened in summer split? Because, they lost to WZ, and they ended up prematurely quitting in both match 1 and 2.
Yeah, they did.
Even though they were mathematically in it, it was still very slim of a margin. But Ethereal, they also don't have really one person necessarily that keeps the team together, but recently they've kind of, as a team, collected themselves.
Yeah,
And that's what you'd like to see from KG. Either have a leader step up or, in the clutch
collectively,
dying
bro.
moment, just collect. Yeah.
Yeah, and have someone there to pick up the slack if someone's not performing, which I think is one of the strong points of this KG lineup, is that even if one person is kind of slacking off a little bit and not performing well, someone like a Jake or even a Havo can really pick up that slack and just run with it.
Yeah, but they don't really utilize substitutions too much. Well, top teams don't really too much. Usually, if they
Yeah.
have one roster, they just stick with it.
Mhm.
But I find it interesting when players like Russo have an off day. You know, on paper, you could say, "Oh, Luke can come in, maybe." And actually, a lot of people were clamoring for Luke to come in. A lot of people that were watching the Ethereal versus Kinetolic gaming match last week, they're like, "Hey, why isn't Luke playing? Luke should come in for Russo." But they stuck with Russo, and unfortunately, Russo wasn't able to redeem his match 1 performance, as he did drop another 50 bomb.
Mhm.
But hopefully, Russo will be able to come in the crunch time here. 3 races to go, 9-point lead for KG, and we'll see who comes out on top. This is going to be a fairly interesting last 3 races. I feel like whoever wins this match, 99.99% chance they're going to win, just based on the pattern we've seen. A lot of 2-0s in this tournament.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's going to be... I'm really looking forward to these last 3 races, because obviously I think this can kind of flip it. Almost like, it won't flip it necessarily, but it'll kind of have a little bit of an effect on the start of the next match, and that could really just... one team could run away here.
Yeah. If anything, I feel like if WZ go down, then they'll have a little bit more of a chance to at least win match 2. As WZ a lot of the 2-1s that we've seen in Summer Split and the MKPS Final 8, which is very few and far between, by the way, have been games that WZ have played, whether they won match 1 and lost match 2, or lost match 1 and won match 2. So in regards to the entertainment value, WZ have put up some of the most entertaining matches, coming back from the dead after losing match 1, or winning match 1 and then giving up match 2, that sort of deal.
Yeah, it's been fairly interesting, their run so far.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the bagger's going to do here, because this is a sitting track, and sometimes the bagger likes to go through the boxes when the runner goes through, so that they don't fail. Ryu goes backwards first, as predicted, as he is usually the one that commits first.
Yeah, no, I was gonna mention that if like boxes aren't there, it's a very good idea for the baggers just to barrel through with the runners, because they won't have an item they can't willy bump with a shroom.
Yeah,
there's really
but
no like loss
went a
to
little
it.
late. He went after a few of the runners already passed. I like to go when the first runner passes, so that there's not too much of a space that the bagger can go through. As Edison does have the break, he did pull gold in a shroom to be able to win in the bagging battle. Pau comes in. Quinn dropped that fib, but it was a little bit too close. Russo was able to kind of sneak past with the Pau invincibility there.
Oh, I don't really like that from Edison, honestly, unless he had Bill, which he might have. I think he did actually have Bill.
It's a really good back there from Jake, but Jake gets backed himself.
Oh, that's unfair. And Russo gets backed out of cut. Oh, that's clutch.
Russo.
Oh, that's so clutch from that is so clutch from Jack. That'll make a top 3. Oh wow. Yeah, that's interesting to say the least. Yeah. That's kind of the clutch plays like a player like Jack. It's a big IQ play, honestly. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily big IQ, because you got to think to back, but he backs wide onto Jake around the U-turn. First and foremost, wide backspams there are really annoying to maneuver past. And then he backs really tight as Russo came out of the cut.
Yeah. No, because I think it's common knowledge amongst a lot of people that Russo's pretty good at that ending cut, because he has done quite a bit of time trialing here. So I think you really do expect him to always be coming out the best angle of that cut. So honestly, that's one of those like unconscious decisions that can really affect
Yeah,
that side of a match.
cool play. You know, he sees Russo shrooming, and then he's like, all right, I'm gonna back on this tight line. You know, Russo's a daisy. He's gonna maintain that tight line. I'm just gonna back. After I backed Jake wide, I'm gonna back tight here onto Russo. You know, he knows what to do at the most critical points. And this is not the first time that we've seen Jack make these sort of, you know, really instinctual back spams. I think he is Mr. Backspam for WZ. Actually, I feel like a good chunk of the really good backspam plays that we see for this side comes from Jack, and that was just a perfect example of that.
Yeah. It's one of those things that comes with time playing the game. You get to learn how other people play, and you kind of get to pick up on what they're gonna hit, what they're not gonna hit. And that's just the beauty of playing at such a high level for so long.
Yeah. That being said, though, Koopa Cape coming out, I actually didn't catch who ended up picking this one. Did you?
That would have to be a WZ pick because they're top 3. Because there's really no like substantial way to catch up and break a top 3 like that very early. But
one of WZ drop though. Yeah, it's good to have one person drop though. 2 run, 2 bag. It's kind of the staple here.
Yeah, for sure. It's because obviously there is a lot of spots to shroom up, but you can also, as we see Russo just fail a little bit there, you can also drive the whole race.
Yeah, and like clockwork, we see TK coming up. He did drop a little bit at the set. I think he was able to pull triple shrooms there. And if Edison can drop some stars here, this doesn't look to me like he did in the end, though. They're both going into waterfall.
Both waterfall. I like that play from Ryu, actually, because he, more than Edison, will know the timings for the boxes. And this will like minimize the amount of boxes that Ed does get.
Yeah. And I think Ryu recognized that Edison didn't have a star in that scenario, so he went backwards.
Yeah.
And Edison followed suit. And so we'll see
Ryu has shock, or he's baiting with Bill. He was sitting at the boxes for so long, but given Russo's holding the star in 7, I think he has shock already.
No, he's baiting. I think I don't know for sure actually, because he went backwards again.
No, that's because that ramp is kind of deadly to.
Oh yeah, you know, you could start the cut. Yeah, so I think Ryu recognized that and he went backwards. So yeah, more than likely he is in possession of it right now.
Yeah, no, he's just sitting at that turn. He has to have shock at this point, and yeah, you see one of WZ predicting the first set chain.
Yeah,
they're gonna shock him out, and that's
switching over to Russo. Yep, Jake and
2 dodge for KG, 1 for WZ and Quinn. Ooh. That's a that should make this a fairly competitive race.
Oh, he got back tight there. Casper likes to go tighter on those turns because he predicts the wide backspam, but Russo put one tight, and now he's in a bad position.
That wasn't even Russo's backspam because Russo pulled triple shrooms.
Oh yeah,
that was there from lap 2. That's rather unfortunate, honestly. If that is, I feel like that should have been at least in his, like, obviously there's a lot going on, but he should have at least have some prior knowledge, I guess, that that's there. But, you know, it's just one of those things that it happens and you can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, that was for whatever reason I kind of had a moment of short-term memory, like Dory from Finding Nemo. I'm like, oh, that was Russo's backspam. Oh no, that was from lap 2. Yeah, so those backspams, I don't know if that was KG or WZ's, but
yeah,
easier said than done, obviously. But you got to remember those for the next lap. Whether you know you're the one that's backing it or calling it, at least call it for the next lap for your teammate. Maybe Casper just kind of had a moment, a mental lapse there.
Yeah, that's just one of those things that happens, and that's just this game. I mean, there's so much going on at any given point in the race, and you will forget about something like that, especially if a shock just happened or something. So you can't always expect peak performance.
Right. I mean, that's the nature of this game. It's so fast-paced, and there's so much going on in the call and the coordination that sometimes you forget about the little things.
Exactly.
So with that race, it's going to be a 5-point deficit now, cutting it down to half going into this last race here, guys.
Yeah.
This is what we like to see. Prime time MKW.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting last race, obviously. As long as I think it's 2-3 or 2-4 is held by WollywogZ, they win. But it's going to be interesting because
It has to be 2-3. No, it has to be 2-3 and then like 7-8. If it's 2-4, then it has to depend. They have to get like 6, I think.
Yeah, it has to be 2-4-6, at least. I do like this pick from WollywogZ, though, knowing what they have, like what the deficit is and all of that, because you can't really rely on Shotgun Coconut because you're just sitting at that one box, and if Edison just sits, you're forcing Ryu to roll in 9 and pull a Bill most likely.
Oh, by the way, 2-3, 2-3, 7-8, 9 ties.
Okay, yeah,
2-3, 7-8, 9, and then they gotta get 2-4. If they get 2-4, they gotta get 6, 7, 9. So we'll see what happens early on here. Let's not talk too much about the what ifs. Let's just focus on what's going on here. TC for TK, gonna be able to not. Oh, actually no, he bounced it off to Kasparas. He got redded there.
Did he get that to Mura? Yes, he did. Okay, yeah, that's basically gonna put Mura out of this race unless he
opting to use his golden early. I'm not necessarily sure about that one. I mean, he was kind of far back. Yeah, I was gonna say if he does use that golden prematurely, I would say just drop for another item, and he does.
Yeah, I think the thinking there was get in front of Havo, just pin him to the back, and just hold as much of the top spots as you can.
Yeah, KG top 2 though, and Javo taking it upon himself to schlag a little bit too, forcing the Quinn out of the Mega there. Actually, Quinn used his Mega first.
Yeah, Quinn used the Mega first, and then Havo reacted with the Star. It looks like basically all 3 of them are taking cut though. So it's not really gonna change much. It looks like a top, from what I'm seeing with Battle, it looks like top 2. Yeah, it is top 2 for
a random green just flashed in front of Russo's face there. I'm not sure where that came from. I think that might have been a green thrown up, and it just looped around the downstairs. It tends to do that.
Yeah, it does. It's that's kind of one of the only complaints I have about this track is that
it can be very random.
Yeah, random greens just bounce and bombs flying off of the wall, little
top 2 is so far gone though. This
is
looking bad for WZ.
I think WZ has to hold every single mid spot from 3 to 6.
Blue onto Russo though. This could be a start. Is there going to be a combination item here?
No. But
Jack though, you don't want Jack behind you. Mr. Playmaker, let's see what he does here. This is going to be a very, very big exchange.
So Casper pulled a red. If Jack can pass Russo.
No, the boost panel's here. I don't see it. Shock. Oh.
That's he's getting blued. Russo's getting blued on the line.
Russo!
That's not how you want that to end. What they got 1 for something. They got 1-4-6-8. That's winning by like 1 if they get 9. That's a really. This is kind of what we expected from this matchup again, but that's an unfortunate way because you're winning this first match all the way through that race until that blue on the line.
Blue. It was a double blue. Oh.
Yeah, that's a heartbreaker. And in the end, it's 1-4-6-8-10, which is not enough. It's actually a minus, either 1 or 3. I can't do math right now. But that's gonna be lights.
Lights, camera, GGs for this match.
Yeah, that was a really interesting match. Honestly, there were so many like swings in the favor, like the momentum and stuff. It was just
there weren't too many. I mean, there were a couple of big races, but the biggest lead was, I think 16 for KG after GP1.
Yeah, it was 16, then it was 12 to WZ, and then it went just held.
Yeah, and I can't really pinpoint one specific reason why WZ won the race. I mean, there were good things, couple of bad.
Yeah, no, I can actually, having just been told by someone, Jake didn't stop on the line after shock.
You're talking about CM.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Jake didn't stop on the line, so Russo got blued.
Oh my god.
That's really unfortunate.
We're gonna have to cut cut the post match analysis a little bit because we're gonna have a stream host change. We're gonna have myself setting up the stuff. So if we can get a +1 caster, maybe sub myself, or I can cast anyway. But we're gonna get a sub host real quick. We're gonna end the stream temporarily. We'll be coming back at you guys with match 2 in about 10 minutes or so. So stay tuned. WZ up 1-0 against Kinetolic Gaming.